Welcome to Haken, an Animal Crossing podcast, your podcast dedicated to all things Animal Crossing. Episode 167 is brought to you by Jankles, Spencer Holy, and MK, some of our newest Patreon patrons. This week, Nina, Sergio, and I are going to talk about things New Leaf does better than New Horizons, and things New Horizons does better than New Leaf. After that, we're going to talk about Gracie and what she could do in New Horizons. So to begin, hello Nina, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm getting ready for a full week back of teaching, so we'll see how that goes.
That's good. And then Sergio, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty awesome. It's been a really good week. How are you doing, Chuy?
I'm doing well. Just been hanging out today, working on videos and playing a lot of Age of Calamity.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I've been getting pretty into it. I've stopped trying to be like completionist about it, and I'm just like, I don't got time for this. Let me just see the story.
While, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm just doing the story now. I did like 3 or 4 chapters of perfection, and now I'm just like, all right, too lazy for this. Let's move it along, game. Yeah, so anyways, today I wanted to pit New Leaf and New Horizons against each other because I feel like there's a constant conversation going on online regarding these two games, and typically it's people saying New Leaf is better than New Horizons, and I don't necessarily think so in some cases. I think they're both very different games in a lot of ways, but I feel like, to be fair with both of them, there are things that each of them does better, you know?
Yeah.
At least, from a player's opinion and everything, but I decided we could each pick one thing that makes New Leaf better than New Horizons, and another one option for what makes New Horizons better than New Leaf. So let's actually kick that off. And I'm going to start today because I am very passionate about the thing I picked for New Leaf versus New Horizons. So we'll start here. I think that New Leaf does storage better than New Horizons does. And it's definitely not in terms of storage capacity, because New Horizons definitely wins in that section. Like, there's just far more storage in New Horizons, especially after the last update that gave us the expanded storage, But in other ways, there is definitely just a real advantage that New Leaf has. So here's kind of what I'm talking about. I really like that in New Leaf, storage is kind of tied to an item. And this is very like old school Animal Crossing thinking, where they kind of went off of the same concept and kept growing it. And in this case, it's like, to unlock storage in Animal Crossing, you need a closet. And the very first game was the worst because you could get a closet, but you could only store like, clothing and stationery, and you could only fit like 3 items in a single storage container, And so you had to buy a bunch of different containers in order to store everything, and then just like sorting through all of that. It was bad. It was pretty bad. But by the time we got to New Leaf, they really nailed it, I would say. They had like, you opened up a closet and there were like these different categories, well, pretty much symbols and colors that you could organize your storage with. There was essentially the 6 different pages for each color,
Yes.
So there was like a really cool, you essentially as the player had control over the organization of the storage. And that's, I don't know, I feel like the menus in New Horizons are kind of weak thus far. It's not the most intuitive in terms of looking at things. I've pointed out where we have like miscellaneous and other as categories in some spaces, and I'm just like, why does this not make sense, And so like New Leaf, like you had the ability to really control your storage in ways. You could organize your items in ways that you can't in New Horizons.
Yeah,
You
true.
really you have a sort button, but like the options are by series, and memorizing what order all of these series pops in is very difficult. And then you have alphabetical and time, which is basically most recent to least recent item put in your storage, and you're just like, I don't know when I put stuff in here. It's really only helpful when you've put something that you know you need recently,
Right,
Right.
right.
So yeah, like storage, like accessing it in New Horizons isn't as intuitive as New Leaf. And even from there, like I really just like the aspect that it's tied to a real item. In New Horizons, you open up a storage, like a cabinet, a refrigerator, anything like that, and it's like, do I want to get dressed?
Yeah.
Like, that's the option in the game.
And I have hidden like little coolers all around my island so that I can change my clothes whenever I need to.
Yeah. And I don't know. I think it's just like, it's a very strange option that everything, like instead of being a storage option, it got switched over to a changing room, basically. Where, I don't know, I feel like a lot more of the items make a bit more sense as being storage options still, rather than like a closet.
Yeah.
Yes.
Unless
so,
it's
like,
an
I don't-
actual closet. Like some of them are closets, and so they
Yeah.
could be the clothes storage. That'd be nice.
That would be really great. Like if there was a clean way to just say, all right, this is clearly for clothes. You can open this one for your clothing and this one for like, I don't know, whatever else that you need, any type of storage, right?
Yeah.
I wish there was a clean way to do that, but like, I mean, as far as like New Leaf goes, I do appreciate that like the priority is set on items rather than clothing. But I mean, the clothing thing definitely has its conveniences. Like as you said, your little coolers hidden everywhere and being able to change on the spot right away. That's pretty nifty. But like if there was a way to distinguish between the two, that'd also be very helpful. But I don't know, from the outside world, there's really no way to access your storage. You have to go inside, which has always been the case in Animal Crossing, but this game feels like it was the opportunity to change that.
Yeah.
The other thing with like New Leaf storage is that it has the lockers, the train station lockers.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
Huge. Like this is something that I don't see brought up a lot, but the lockers allowed you to go to another place and open your inventory, like your storage inventory from another town. This came with so many benefits. Like I'm thinking turnips specifically. I mean, New Horizons, you can't even store your turnips, so that's a bummer right there. But in New Leaf, you could fill your storage, your internal storage, with turnips, go to another town, and easily get tons and tons of sales with your turnips without ever having to travel back and forth. Like that right
Yeah.
there is a huge advantage. Like people already complain about the time it takes to like leave to some place. You're stopping all of these other players from being able to play the game because they're waiting for you to load into the lobby, So
Yeah.
there's so many little problems with having to travel back and forth that add up to the time consumption. And just having that locker in New Leaf to go to the train station and just get your stuff, what you need from there, and get going, amazing.
Oh.
It was so incredibly beneficial for it.
And it had the museum storage was also linked to it.
Right. Yes, the museum storage. So there were multiple options here for what you could do. And it's really a shame that you can't there's just like no way around it. If you go to a place and you forgot an item, well, tough. You have to go back and get that item. Unless, of
Yeah.
course, it's like a craftable thing, then you could be like, oh, do you have these materials? I can make it for you,
Right.
That's one advantage New Horizons has. But outside of that, like, you're out of luck. You have to go back and then come back again. That's 2 more trips than you already wanted to take at that point.
Yeah.
But yeah, just overall, I really like that the storage in New Leaf is like, it's tied to your cabinets, your closets, a lot of different items that feel like they're meant for storage in that game. And I don't know. It's just really beneficial that you can access them somewhere else. That's a huge feature for me.
Yeah,
Man, I forgot all about that.
Yeah.
we're
I
getting too
mean,
used to to New Horizons.
Yeah.
yeah. And I mean, to some extent there are a lot of benefits to New Horizons storage. Like it is so much bigger.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
really quick to access. Like
Right.
you click the button and it's just there, and it's tied to every room in your place, you know? Like you
Mm-hmm.
can go into any room and access your storage and get whatever you need from there. In New Leaf, you do have to like put down an item or make sure that item you have is in your secret storage, which was a feature added later on. New Horizons is more like the secret storage, you know, in New
Yeah,
Leaf.
definitely.
So the idea does come from there, but I don't know. I still think that like New Leaf really nailed it in terms of like the quality of life with organizing. Like you
Yeah.
have agency over the organization of your belongings, and that to me is huge because I don't know, when you're upwards of 2,000, or how many items can you carry in New Horizons now? 1,600?
Yeah.
Is that the number?
Yes.
Once you have that many items in your storage, it is a pain to look through for what you actually need
Mm-hmm.
and want.
It would be
um,
nice to see more sorting options. Like you were saying, there's the
mhm,
time, I can't even remember anymore there because I never
mhm.
use them alphabetical. But
Uh-huh.
the DIYs have like the favorite option. So it'd be really nice if we could have a favorite option in
Mm.
our closets
Mm.
too.
Yeah, that would be really helpful. Then you can like just kind of keep track of the stuff that you want more often than the other items, you know?
Mm-hmm.
That'd be cool. I would not mind like a color sort either.
Yes. Yeah, that'd be
Like
Oh,
nice.
nice.
like when you're trying to create something to a theme and everything, like having a color sort option is so
Mm,
beneficial for that.
I like that.
um yeah. I mean, so yeah, that's kind of my rant on storage. I still really do like the room that we have in New Horizons, but I think there's some things that could be improved, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I guess Sergio, what are you thinking? What's better in New Leaf than in New Horizons?
I'm gonna go with the villager interactions. Um,
Hmm.
Mm.
in general, personally, my opinion, I feel like the things they used to say and the variety of the dialogue was a lot more impressive in New Leaf than in New Horizons by a rather noticeable amount. And not only that, but sometimes they would invite you to their house and you had to
Oh yeah.
say a date, or I think sometimes they said, "Can you go right now?" Right, and you could say yes or
Mm-hmm.
no, or sometimes they could ask you for a specific time. Same for going over to your house. They could ask you, "Can I go over at 4?" Or when you were in your house, they could just show up and like, "Hey, I'm here to hang out." I thought that was very nice. I like that a lot in New Leaf.
Oh, and then sometimes they'd ask you to go get somebody.
Oh, that's true. That's another good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was rare, but it was cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, it was so cute, like going out, getting somebody, and then they just follow you to their house, and you walk in, and you get to see their
Yeah.
conversations together. That was adorable. I'd totally forgotten that used to happen.
yeah.
But yeah, no, like Sergio, you're totally spot on. Like there was a lot more. I guess it was a lot more frequent to get like requests from villagers in that game, I felt. They would often run up to you and do that kind of thing. And I know people really didn't like this feature, but the ping feature where they would go up and say, "Oh, I wish you would build this public works
Oh,
Right.
project."
you're right.
People really didn't like it in terms of like being the way to collect public works projects, you know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But it did like bring in something that I felt was kind of more rewarding than a reaction being given to you, you know, because that was basically the replacement in New Horizons.
Yeah.
Villager, like the big special thing that you could get from the villagers tended to be a new reaction. But
Right.
in this one, it's like, awesome. You could get a new public works project and make your place look even cooler, you know?
I
Yeah,
will
back
say.
then-
Go
Oh,
ahead.
sorry. Yeah, back then we really needed those for outdoor decorating because we didn't really have it outside public works.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what were you going to say, Nina?
I will say though that I do not miss them asking if they can come over like later at a certain time because they'd be like, can I come over? You'd be playing at like noon and they'd be like, can I come over at like 5:30? Like,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be playing at 5:30.
That's true, yeah.
And I would always forget to log back in and then they'd get really mad at me. So I don't miss that feature.
That's true. The best one was when they were just like, "Let me come over now,"
Yeah.
and I'm like, "Yes,"
Yes.
because
Yes.
I ain't gonna play in 30 minutes.
Right.
When you wanna go. It's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know how the villagers also have conversations between themselves, and if you see them talking, you can go talk to them, and they kind of involve you in what they're talking about. New Horizons has that too, and they're very nice. They're actually some of my favorite parts of the interaction with the villagers. But I still think New Leaf had those. Maybe not better, but they were a lot longer, a lot more involved. The conversations, I think I had a lot more fun in laughing at those because they were really funny.
Yeah, those are some of the stronger conversations in New Horizons, and I don't know, I can't really remember the New Leaf ones too much because I felt like it was a little bit rare that you would see them like talking
Yes.
to each other.
It was rare, yes.
Yeah, but
And-
always really good ones.
Oh yeah, and I'm also I might be cheating here a little bit, but since New Leaf had more buildings, basically more places that you could go to, and also the villagers. Because of that, they had more things to say. For example, if they were over to Brewster's, they would talk about coffee. They would have their own different favorite kind of drink, for the minigame. So by having more buildings, more areas, or more places to visit, the villagers would kind of have more things to say related to that environment. So I feel like in a way that made them feel like more alive, more fun to interact with. They were more involved with you and with everything that was going on in your town.
Yeah, I hadn't even realized that would affect it too, but it makes perfect sense just with the amount of things going on and the amount of places that you could run into them, be it like, like in this game we can run into them in the shops or the museum and stuff, but like that's the limit, basically.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, you'll see them at another villager's home. That one's kind of a rare
Oh, that's
interaction, too.
Yeah.
But yeah, there were so many other places that you could run into them in that game. And I felt like some places were designed to that as well. Like retail specifically, if you were in there long enough, like a villager's walking in behind you to do some shopping, And it's really cool that like you can price something up for them to buy and be like, all right, I'm about to rip you off, but don't worry. I get to benefit from this, so we should be good. But yeah, it was really cool that, they can show up in the same place that you were, and you didn't necessarily have to just like walk in and find them there. They could walk in after the fact.
Yeah.
With that.
I'm just remembering too how I would put certain things up for sale that I know I would want in a certain villager's home. And so if they were ever in retail, you could kind of like herd them towards that item and they'd be like, "Oh, I want to buy this." I would do that every time.
Nice.
That's the way to do it. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's funny because I just have been away from that game for so long. I haven't remembered all of these little quirks that it has in terms of their interaction. But now you're totally right. I'm missing that now. There's so many things that they could do. So
Yeah.
it's fun.
Hopefully we'll get something like that in an update. That'd be amazing.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. There was a rumor that villager visits would come back, like ones where they could visit your home, you
Mm-hmm.
know? Because that's definitely one interaction that I miss a lot. There was a lot of really cute dialogue associated with them coming to your house. They just like point out your stuff, snoop around and everything, and
Yeah.
say some cute things. The funniest one I ever had was like Diana, the deer. She talked about like playing some heavy metal music in a band or something. It was very uncharacteristic for her, you know. Um, but that said, there was those moments where they would basically just like show up on your doorstep and
No.
you're trying to
Oh.
go get things done and you're just like, "All right, can you leave? Like I don't want to be rude right now."
It was the worst. I hated it. I hated it.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think overall it was very fun, and there are rumors that that feature it
Mhm.
might make a return like it was in the data mine at some point.
Oh,
So,
okay.
Mhm.
yeah. Who knows? I mean, it could be in the future. I'm at the point where I'm just like not expecting much with this next update, and that they're just like version 2.0 for the 1 year, you know?
Yes, yes.
Hopefully, but they could easily just like spread this out because I think COVID has had a huge effect on the development team, and we're probably not going to get some of the things they really wanted to do. Like if you look at the early kind of updates that we got, they felt pretty ambitious. Like there was a lot of new stuff going on with them, and I feel like at some point they hit
Mm.
that's point where they were like, I don't think we can get as much done as we want to, and we're gonna have to scale this back a little and, kind of more spoon feed it to us over time. So while
Yeah,
it may not come up in like in one huge major update, it might be sprinkled in throughout the year, you know?
That'd be
yeah,
nice.
hopefully.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Nina, I guess what do you think is better about New Leaf than New Horizons?
So mine's kind of more ambiguous answer. I miss the kinetic energy that we could feel around the town. For example, when the little train would go through and the crossing arms would lower, and I'd love to like run with the train as it would go across, like if I was like planting trees or something. I miss having that kind of energy in the town. And then also, um, up in the main, what do they call it? Main Street,
Yes.
the
Hmm.
villagers that you're like old villagers would come back and visit, and there were so many shops and everybody was out shopping and you could say hi to them. So I'm kind of missing that like lively feeling of
Mm.
of the town, which I understand New Horizons kind of is supposed to be our island getaway retreat. So I guess it makes sense that it doesn't have like
Ah,
the bustle of New Leaf, but
right.
especially even just the train, it's something that I'm kind of missing in my town.
That's true.
Hmm.
I don't know. It's
Yeah, and
hard to
now,
put my finger on that feeling.
yeah, no, I get you for sure. Like, I feel like there's like very minor touches in New Horizons that capture that type of feeling.
Mhm.
For example, when you go and visit somebody's island or somebody visits you, you're gonna see like the airplane streak across the sky, like
Yeah.
some sort of. There's this little characteristic that the world is alive in ways,
Mhm.
and I feel like there's little parts that capture that in New Horizons, but like. Neeleaf, you're totally right. There's like just a train that could be in your way at any given time.
Oh,
You don't
it was
never
the
know when it's gonna
best.
cut you off. And it's kind of
Yeah,
it,
I'm
it,
sure.
it just has like random movement.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'm sure other people would get annoyed like going up into Main Street if the arms started closing and you like were just about to make it across the train tracks, but I loved it when that would happen. I just thought I don't I again, I can't really put my finger on it. The sound of the train, I just really enjoyed that kind of stuff in New Leaf.
Mm-hmm.
It would be so nice in New Horizons if we just saw a plane flying by because,
Oh,
people
that'd
are
be
Mm-hmm.
traveling and we
cool.
travel sometimes, so you would just see it there. And also just run into an old villager, like it's just there visiting.
Visiting.
They don't have a home, but
Ooh,
they're like, hey, I just wanted to visit and say hi.
come and shop. Or if you saw like Red's boat chugging away on the other side of the like
Oh,
ocean barriers, that'd be
yes.
so cool. Yeah, some little details like that could be really cute.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that'd be really cute. Because I think of like even going diving and finding a scallop and then seeing Pascal kind of swim away. Like you can go and
Oh, I
follow
love
him
that.
and watch him
Yeah,
swim away. But like imagine just like one day looking out at the back of your island and you see Pascal kind of like swimming by, like just randomly. You don't know, it just
yeah,
be beyond the buoys, you know?
that'd be really
Um,
cute.
yeah, I would love some more random kind of activity like that popping up, especially because like Wild World and City Folk, even just seeing like the UFO fly
Oh,
through,
right.
it's just so it takes you by surprise
Yeah.
with the first time you see it because you're just like, what? There is a UFO in the sky. What is going
Yeah.
on here? Um, so it's kind of it's very cool to have that those like random things happening. I think the closest they get in New Horizons is basically like I don't know Sahara CJ or Flick walking around
Mm-hmm.
because they are kind of the more mobile of the bunch. Like you know
Yeah.
where you're gonna find Gulliver and Gullivar. You know where you're gonna find Leaf, Label, Kicks. A lot of them are just like Plaza or Beach, right?
Right.
And
Yeah.
then the others are like, "Oh, I'm walking around," and I feel like that magic disappeared as soon as like you talk to Harv. Basically, all of a sudden he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm not coming back here anymore. I have my own island." And
Right.
like I, but like the first time you see him just walking around, you're just
Yeah.
like, "Oh, this
Whoa.
is cool." Fun fact though, I do want to point out I was playing as one of my second characters, and Harv was walking around on the island
Oh,
again
nice.
Oh,
because
cute.
apparently you have to talk to him as each character before you get access to Harv's Island.
Okay.
So there are some small ways to get him back on there, you know?
Man, it'd be fun if he just came and walked around some days. Like, he'd be like,
Yeah.
I still exist. You haven't
It
visited
would be
me in so
adorable.
long.
Yeah, it would be so cute. All right, so we're about halfway, we're like 30 minutes in. I think it's time to talk about how New Horizons is better than New Leaf because I think we need to be fair to this game because I don't know, for me I've been really enjoying this one and still find a lot of things much better than New Leaf here. So I guess I'll kick it off again. Um, I want to talk about item collection in New Horizons. There
Mhm.
were kind of tons of restrictions in previous Animal Crossing games regarding collecting items. Part of those are tied to how the stores work and how many places there were to get items, but like kind of their limitations. But New Horizons does like two things specifically that I think gives players more control over item collection and provides more continuous rewards. It is the shops to some extent. I know there's more shops in New Leaf, but the shops are kind of a little bit more quality to me in New Horizons. And then the
Mm.
expanded not the expanded inventory, the crafting as well. Um, because so let me talk about these things a little bit. I'll start with the shops for a little while. Every shop in New Horizons has a pretty huge selection of what's there. I don't know if you've gone to Able Sisters in New Leaf recently, but I don't know, you have like 5 pieces of clothing to pick from at any given time. There's kind of more in Labels shop, to get accessories, but it's pretty limited in terms of what you can get. On top of that, like there's only one type of like this shirt. Like if I have one shirt that's like the style of that, whereas like Able Sisters in New Horizons you have like a bunch of color variety when it comes to clothing and
Yes, that's
things.
true.
And not
Yes.
only that, like they have their display, but you're not tied to just what's on display. Like if you go to the changing room, you get menus and menus worth of different types of clothes, you know? It's just like what you have as a selection isn't so limited. And
Mm.
then on top of that, in Able Sisters back in the day, if you bought a shirt, that shirt was gone. You couldn't buy it anymore. Whereas in
Yeah.
Able Sisters now, people can come over and buy tons and tons of clothing, and it's not limited to just like one purchase per day, you know?
Right.
Like everybody has the opportunity to get something. And I think in general that like opens up the game for any secondary character. It opens up the game for any visiting characters or any visiting players, you know, because now all of a sudden, you know, New Leaf, you're like, oh, before I let anybody come over to my place, let me make sure I buy everything from these shops. And then somebody's like, oh, can I go shopping? And you're like, sure, you're not going to find anything, but go ahead. Whereas now people come and visit and they're like, oh, cool, let me go check your shops because I can find something. Even like Nook's Cranny got updated in that sense where there are always two items that are there forever, you know?
Right.
Like people
Mhm.
can buy over and over. And every once in a while, there's a seasonal item that people can buy over and over. So it's really just like the back wall that's limited. But even then, like there's the cabinet as well, where you can go and buy tons of carpets and wallpapers instead of, I think the limit was still one in the previous games, you
Yeah.
know? So if somebody was like looking for a certain carpet or wallpaper, you're gonna be able to find it in New Horizons. I
Mhm.
think the one thing that we do run into with that system is that because there's so many items available at any given time, it's a little bit easier to complete our catalogs, you know?
Yeah.
And so we do run into that issue that a lot of people are having now where they're just like, oh, I wish there were more items. And it's really because like item purchases aren't as spread out in New Horizons like they
Mm.
were in New Leaf, you know?
Yeah.
You could buy tons and tons and tons of things in a single day. I remember when it turned winter in the game and they finally started giving us like the winter clothing at Able
Oh,
Sisters.
yes.
I spent like 200 bells a day for the first week. It was a lot of money that I spent at Able Sisters as soon as the new clothing came. And that was just not possible in New Leaf. Like,
Yeah.
what you saw was what you got. And once somebody bought it, it was gone. Like, there was just no way around that, you
And your
know?
poor little character looked crazy for the longest time with all the outfits they were putting together. It was amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a tough life for being stylish back in the
Yes. Yes.
day. um, and so this kind of gets me to my next part, the crafting. And like I was saying in the previous games, basically you bought something, it was gone. You really had to wait till the next day to get anything new. Like all of the item collection was very time dependent in New Leaf, where you could only really buy what was there. And then once that inventory was gone, like that's it, no more items unless, you know, order some from the catalog of stuff you already have.
Oh
But
yeah. Yeah.
New Horizons like completely changes that by giving players more control over item collecting through DIY recipes. Like not only is it we're getting a new DIY recipe that unlocks another thing to craft, but like at any given time, like say you're out of inventory in the back part of New Horizons Nook's Cranny, right? All of the stuff is gone and you're like, oh, I really wish I had some more items to fill in the space that I'm decorating. Instead of waiting for tomorrow, you just look at your recipe book. You know, you look at all your recipes and say, oh, this item would look really good here.
Mm.
Let me get the materials and craft it. You know, like it takes away a lot of the waiting that was
Mm-hmm.
involved
That's
in
true.
item collection
Yeah.
and really puts the players in control of being like, I want this, I can make it now. Cool. This is good.
Yeah. Even if it was a placeholder for something that you were going to upgrade later, it
Yeah.
gives you something to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. There's like, because you know, New Leaf, you run around, you do your shops, and then you're done, and you're just like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, well, I guess I can't really do anything anymore. But New Horizons, it's like, yeah, you're done shopping, but now it's like you can do more in order to decorate, you know?
Yeah, or even just to like a lot of completionists out there, you wanna craft every item that you can just to have the little check mark on it. So
Yeah.
maybe you can just even do that and just spend time doing that.
Mm-hmm. I'm working on that right now.
Nice.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, so I mean that's my thing. I think item collecting in New
Mm.
Horizons overall is better. Yes, I'm
Oh
kind of
yeah.
out of stuff to collect at the moment.
Mm.
But even then, I'm just like, there's an update coming around the corner. There's gonna be more stuff pretty soon. So
Absolutely.
it, there's like a drip feed that
Mm-hmm.
I know, even though I'm kind of like done with the stuff now, there's gonna be more very soon.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I
Nice.
guess Sergio, what would you say is better from New Horizons than New Leaf?
I was thinking about it, and the very first thing that came to my mind is outdoor decorating. But I wanted to pick something that, because I figured one of you would actually pick that. So I thought, well, let me dig deeper, see what else I can think of, and I thought of something that I hadn't thought about. I guess, or I thought of something that at first I didn't realize, but I actually like the events better in New Horizons than in New Leaf.
Oh.
And I guess I'm encompassing everything about them because, since the events are coming through updates nowadays in New Horizons, because of that, I feel like they seem more eventful. Because everyone is looking forward to them. Or, like, when is the next update? Or when Nintendo tells us we're just looking forward to the date.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mhm.
because of that, also, I feel like the events are more focused on that specific event day. Some like in New Leaf, some of them were like a monthly thing, but now it's just that one day, and you can kind of decide, oh well, I'll just wait for that day, or I'll keep playing the game normally. It's up to you, but there's an event coming, and you can look forward to that. And also, because of the update nature of these events, they generate a lot more anticipation, speculation, and discussion overall, like in Discord or social media. People are excited to see what the update is going to be. This one coming up, and then the next one, and the next one. So, in a way, yeah, the events, like staggered or through updates, it kind of makes them more special, more significant, and more exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I totally get you there. It feels like there's a community built around the game when it's event time, you know? I think previous Animal Crossing games, all of the events were kind of already in it. You could time travel to them. And, you'd have a bunch of people who are like, oh, yeah, I've been there, done that, don't really need to talk about it. But now in this one, I feel like it really brings people together each update where they're like, oh, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm doing this event. We're all working on it at the same time. Like, I feel like there's a little bit more conversation around the game during event times. And it's kind of thanks to that, like them being basically just held back from us being able to play them, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think all of the updates so far, or all the events, have had either special items or DIYs or maybe both. So it's not just the event itself, but there's also at least a few items with each one.
Yeah, I would say that each of them has like a good amount. Even like with Festival coming up, like I'm expecting another crafting DIY set to
Right.
be associated with this. So yeah, I feel like each one has something special. Even the smaller events, International Museum Day, though it wasn't the most interesting, you did get those really cool, I guess,
The
door
plaques.
icon plaques. Yeah, that's the word I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Plaques. Awesome. Really cool thing that I never would have
Yeah.
expected us to be able to get,
Yeah.
you know? Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. So I guess Nina, what are you thinking is better with New Horizons and New Leaf?
Mine's kind of little, but the pathways. I love having
Mm.
game sanctioned pathways. Of course really loved designing my pathways in New Leaf. Um, But there's just something so satisfying about, the sound of the footsteps on the pathways and how it changes with the shoes you're wearing and the little dust animation and the way that, plants interact with the dirt ones and the sand ones so that you can make like beds of roses or whatever.
Hmm.
Um, I yeah, I just love like as soon as I unlocked terraforming, I don't think that I the first thing I did was actually terraform the mountain or the rivers. I think the first thing I did was start laying down pathways. I was so
Oh.
excited for it. So it's something little, but I love, following the kind of the rules of the game and using their paths. It's just very satisfying to me.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Like the first thing I did was definitely create paths. Most of it was definitely because I was afraid of whatever I was going to mess up by doing the cliff building and the waterscaping, But I think the paths, just like as a tool themselves, they're the most user friendly in that catalog. Of all of them, it's really easy to just go and make a place look nice just by adding some paths to it.
Yeah, yeah.
And even beyond that, like just the paths look so good in this game.
Hmm.
I know a lot of people really enjoyed making paths, and there were a lot of really great designs in New Leaf and
Oh,
previous
yeah.
games, but like, I don't know, I felt like after a while I was like, these paths just don't look like they belong in the
Right.
world. It was very hard to like integrate a design naturally onto your like town and everything. So
Mhm.
after a while I was just like, you know what? I am pro grassware now because I'd rather just run around and have like natural paths created
Mm,
through me running around and playing the game than me trying my best to make a path look as natural as possible in the game.
mhm.
Right.
But like this one, the visuals are so much better that it's easy for even the custom designs to look really great. And a lot of that
Yeah.
credit, I would say, goes to the transparent option
Ah,
in the design tool.
yes.
Just the fact that people just the fact that people can make a path that is so integrated into the world by adding that transparent pattern so it looks like it's on there. It's
Hmm.
so good. It's like, I don't know. I thought of this idea like so long ago, and I'm really happy that it happened. you
Yeah.
know? Yeah. So
It was on a lot of
unfortunately,
people's lists.
yeah, I'll say one thing that's a real bummer about the transparent design. I try to make a little triangle flag for Haken. The
Oh,
transparent part of the flag does not show up as
no.
transparent. It just shows up as white. So fix that, Nintendo, please. But like, you nailed it with the paths.
That would be
The
cool.
Okay,
paths are so
the
Oh,
good.
the nerd part of me wants to tell you it. I bet you it's because of the shadows. That would be the problem.
that makes sense.
Yeah, that would
Ah.
be the hard part to implement.
Okay.
Delete the shadows, Nintendo.
No.
I'm just
Um,
kidding.
the other thing I gotta keep gushing about paths. I know this isn't exciting for everyone, but that they change with the seasons. They like
Mm.
I have like a little fairy circle ring that I designed for my town, and with every season I have to change the colors just a little bit to make it fit with the grass and the weeds and everything. But with the paths that the sanctioned paths, they like the way the snow looks on certain paths and the way that they kind of
Hmm.
change colors with the seasons too. Okay, I'm done now. I'll stop talking about.
No, that is truly an excellent point. Like, just
Yeah.
there's so many little details that we don't think about associated with the paths. Like, they have different sounds depending on what type of path it is. Like your footsteps
Yes.
have different sounds. They have different attributes where it's like the dirt paths you can plant things in, trees,
Yeah.
flowers,
Yeah.
what have you. The stone paths you cannot. And I don't know, I really like that the paths are really built into the world in a way that like is so subtle, but also really delightful to experience. I know when Sergio came over to my place, I had very early on, I had like brick paths around. And
Mm-hmm.
Sergio, you have custom paths, so they don't quite make the sounds, but you were
Right.
running around, and I remember you just saying, like, the sound, this is amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like a little tiny thing, but it's really great. And I do want to say, there's one really amazing feature in terms of like custom paths and the designer too. Sergio, I'm sure you're very happy with it, but like you change out what pattern is in that section, and all of the patterns around your island with that, using that will also
Mm-hmm.
change. So it's so
Yes.
easy to like go in, change the colors slightly so it looks more winter and everything, and then just it's already replaced for you. Like you don't have to go
Yes.
down and lay down the path again. It's just there, you know?
So
Yeah,
nice.
a lot of people wouldn't change them if that was the case for sure. That would be
Yeah.
very time
It,
consuming.
it would be such a hassle. It would be
Yeah.
honestly the worst.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, paths, gushing about paths and how they're better
That's what I'm
than
here
New Leaf's
for.
paths.
Okay, I know that we were
Awesome.
only supposed to pick one, but I have a bonus round if you'll allow it.
Okay. Yeah, yeah,
Where
go for it.
where I think we need a marriage of New Leaf and New Horizons in the museum, because the museum in New Horizons is beautiful. It's one of my favorite
Yes.
places. The
Mhm.
exhibits, the way that if you stand on certain spots, the camera changes, and the lighting and the music and the sound effect. It's unbelievable. But I miss how in New Leaf, when you would go through, you would click on like the fish and it would tell you about the fish again. I need
Yes.
that brought back.
Mm.
I need these two things to come together in my life, and all will be well. The art museum
Yeah.
does it in New Horizons, and I find myself
Mhm.
going in there and just like reading over again about the new
Oh, yeah.
art. So I don't know why the other exhibits couldn't do that.
Yeah, yeah, no, you're totally right. Like, if the exhibits were as informative as Blathers was whenever you donate
Yeah.
things, like,
Hmm.
that would welcome addition for sure.
Which they did in New Leaf, so it couldn't be
Hmm.
done.
Yeah.
I'd need it.
Yeah, I'm down. I'm down for them to make that change.
All right.
All right. Well, this next little section, we're going to talk all about Gracie specifically. But we spent last episode kind of gushing over Brewster as well. And I figured, it'd be pretty fun to revisit some of these characters that aren't quite in New Horizons yet. There's still an opportunity for them to show up, but we'll kind of go over their history as well as talk about like some ideas that we would have for the characters if they returned to New Horizons. So, Gracie will give you their background, but they were born November 14th. They're a Scorpio. Their their catchphrase is "I'll leave it up to you." Surprising catchphrase, I would think, from Gracie, just considering, how opinionated Gracie can be. And then this last little fun fact I have is that Gracie is a male character in
Hmm.
Japan, but
Right,
female
right.
in other regions. So there are several characters that are male in
Yeah.
Japan, but female in other regions, but Gracie is one of them.
Hmm. There's like three, right? At
Yeah,
least.
Sahara, Gracie, and
Harriet.
Maybe
no, I don't think it's
No?
Harriet.
Oh. Mm,
Pave?
No, it's not Pave either.
Who is it?
Oh, I'm gonna have to look this up. I'll find it in a little bit while we go through this history. um, so Gracie first was introduced into Animal Crossing in the very first game, Population Growing GameCube
right.
game. What she had you do is the most Gracie thing possible. But she drives over to your town. You run into her, and she's got her car parked there, and it is in desperate need of a wash. And so she tells you to wash her car for her. So you wash the car. Basically, you just have to mash A as fast as possible. The better you do, the faster you mash A, the better the clothing that you will get from Gracie. If you do a bad job and the car's still dirty, she's not going to give you anything. If you do an okay job, you're going to get a regular shirt. But if you do an excellent job, you're getting a Gracie design. So designer clothing for the
Nice.
price of washing somebody's car. Pretty hilarious. Very Gracie thing for sure.
Yeah.
Wild World, she still comes by car, but she does something a little bit different. She gives you a fashionista quiz. So she'll ask you a bunch of fashion-oriented questions, and if you do well enough, you're going to get a letter that tells you you're really great, or just, a leather with some clothing. So, but depending on how well you do, you'll get a better prize, I believe. From there, you can also buy an outfit from her. She'll have you name a price and she'll kind of style you, the whole getup, which I think back then was shirt, accessory, and hat. So not too much to the outfits in the previous games, but, it's nice to get something. City Folk was a very dramatic shift, I would say, for Gracie. She now runs her own store located in the city, which is very cool. I think it's very fitting because she's always been kind of that city type character.
Yes, exactly.
So it didn't really make sense to have her be in those towns previously. But now that we can visit the city, we can go to Gracie Grace, which is the name of her store. She would show up in the shop on the first day of every month. So if it's like January 1st, you're going to go in, you'll see Gracie. If she's there, she'll judge your outfit. If you do well with your outfit, if you're well coordinated, very stylish, very chic, you'll get a 10% discount in the shop. But here's the caveat. The discount will go away if you leave the shop. You do not get the discount after that. So come prepared. Bring your little credit card thing.
Oh, I missed that.
It needs to return. Please come back. Bring plenty of money because you need the discount. 10% is huge at Gracie Grace.
Yes.
Her stuff is so expensive. New Leaf, another kind of change, but still able to get a shop. But Gracie will start to appear after TIY is built in your town. Her appearance is random, but once she does, she'll do a fashion check with you and ask you to coordinate a certain type of outfit. She'll give you a category. What would you classify it as? She'll give you a theme. That's the word I'm looking for.
Right.
So you have 3 chances to pass, I think, or until midnight. If you hit any of those first, it's done. You won't get another chance. But if you do pass, you will get a Gracie piece, either clothing or furniture. I think it depends on how well you do. Once you pass her fashion check 4 times, she'll then open up her shop upstairs of the TNT Emporium whenever that is built. So pretty cool reward there, and she'll sell a new inventory of things every season, which is a lot like City Folk. She did have, I think, 4 different sets. So there's a spring, summer, autumn, and winter set. And yeah, pretty good category catalog of items, and they're all very, very expensive.
Oh yeah. And
Yes.
she wouldn't even judge you if you went barefoot, which kind of
Oh!
bothered me. Yeah, because I think you can be fashionable if you're barefoot, but yeah, she would
Sergio's
say,
arch nemesis.
yeah.
Shoes are a requirement. I had no idea. I never even
Yeah.
tried that.
What would she
No
say?
shoes, no shirt, no service, right?
Exactly, that's what she said. Yeah, yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay,
That's pretty amazing.
I looked it up. It is just Gracie and Sahara, who in Japan are both male but use female pronouns in Japanese.
Oh, I got you.
So interesting.
Interesting. So here on this page, it's telling me it's Blanca as well.
Oh.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure though.
I don't remember that.
Me neither.
Yeah, it looks like Japan and South Korea. Blanca is male.
Wow. Interesting. Blanco.
Yeah. I mean, that's exactly how they say Blanca in Japanese and Korean. All right. So, anyways, that is Gracie Grace's history. I wanted to ask you both, what would you like Gracie to do in New Horizons? Sergio, do you want to kick us off here?
Sure thing. And I mean, definitely bring back all of her furniture and clothing items
Mm.
and the accessories. I mean, yeah, even with the high price tags, that's okay. It's Gracie. We're used to that. And if
Yeah.
you're not used to that, then we'll get used to that for the new players. But I want a couple of new things. If she does come over, hopefully, she could introduce more customizable clothing options. There's a lot, but I want customizable shorts. So if she can make that happen, yeah, all is forgiven,
Oh.
Gracie.
Maybe
And
shoes
That's
the
too.
more the better. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it kind of makes me think too, like there are some items that are just so expensive in Nook's Cranny, like the $100,000, $200,000 items, right?
Hmm.
Yes.
And so I really wonder what her stuff would be priced at in this game. I honestly am a little bit scared of
Yeah.
That's true.
it. Yeah.
Nice. And
Yeah.
if I can ask for one more thing,
Hmm.
if she can offer maybe like a villager fashion service, she would hire you as her consultant, and you would basically coordinate some outfits for the villagers because you know they look really well on those items, clothing, accessories, everything. And basically, once you set them up for the villagers, they would be very likely to wear them. Or even if you said, no, on Tuesdays you're going to wear this for sure. I'm taking over. I know what you need.
On Wednesdays we wear pink.
Yeah. Oh, imagine that. That would be amazing.
Yeah. That'd be pretty interesting. Like have a little theme set for your villagers and
Yeah.
have them go through. That'd be fun. That's awesome. So Nina, what would you like Gracie to do?
Okay. In my mind, Gracie has taken over the internet. With one bat of her eyelash, she has become like a reality show competition queen. Like she's so fierce and unforgiving. She's got like her own RuPaul like drag race TV show, but on the internet. And I think it'd be really cool if on our Nook phone, if she had her own like app or website we could go into
Oh.
and shop for like high fashion luxury items. And maybe we could bring back her furniture and things. But also I'd love this to be an introduction to like jewelry and more accessories. Because in Pocket Camp, your
Ooh.
person can wear earrings. So I think it'd be really cool if we could get earrings or bracelets or something like that.
Yes.
Um, it'd be so expensive on her website, and when it gets sent to you, it'd be like all wrapped up beautifully.
Yes.
And I think it'd be really cool if you could like unlock various loyalty items to like the more you shop with her, then she could send you like fancy Gracie perfume or the mannequins. We could get the mannequins again or like
Yes.
crystal statues or something like things you have no use for whatsoever. But she'd be into it. Like I think
Oh yeah.
she's just, she's perfect internet personality.
That's true.
I love these. I love all
Yeah.
these ideas. I think I don't know. I feel like that's a really good way to bring her in, especially with like another app, like another shopping app too,
Yeah. Yeah.
to get regular access to it. If I guess if they're not gonna have these villagers like open up their own shops, it'd be kind of
Right.
cool to have like some apps with new stuff added all the time. So I'd be into it for
Yeah,
sure.
that's what I was thinking. Like, I'm not sure my island would be able to host a huge shopping mall, but we could have the app instead.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my idea, I mean, I'd say a lot more straightforward than both of you. I would basically just want Gracie to take over Label's
Oh
stuff
yeah.
that she's doing right now.
Mm.
I think Label needs to move in with Able Sisters and start selling her stuff there, be it like new sets of clothing and everything, maybe have more stuff that she brings from her catalog and everything,
Mhm.
and maybe even give you like more patterns to unlock. Like I know
Oh.
it was really fun getting new patterns from Sable and,
Yes.
just collecting more and more pages of stuff. And if there were more of the just like, I guess I call them the user friendly patterns, the ones where you don't necessarily have to make them on your own to
Right.
get them.
Mm.
I would love that just to
Oh.
get a lot more variety without so much effort,
Maybe
you know?
hers could be
True.
like metallics and like they could shimmer in the
Oh.
Yeah.
sun or something.
Yeah, exactly. Like I think she'd bring a lot of different flavors to it that Sable doesn't quite,
Mhm.
But anyways, Gracie would then, take over the role of visiting and doing fashion checks and everything, the new rewards would be like her designer goods as well.
Mhm.
So, yeah, just kind
And
of like introduce her slowly.
yeah, and I'm sure you would agree that she would be a lot pickier than Label.
Oh, for sure. uh, and she probably wouldn't give you any fashion ticket discount points
No,
either,
no.
so.
Not at all.
But yeah, I think she'd still make it worth it somehow, right?
Oh, maybe you could have to like unlock a VIP access to certain items or something. I don't know.
Yeah, anything
Mm.
would be cool.
Mhm.
All right, well, let's go ahead and end the show with Haken's Islander Corner. For those of you who don't know, every single week we ask our patrons on Patreon a question and read their answers out loud here on the show. This week's question was, who is your village villain and why? So I thought this would be really fun. I wanted
Yeah.
to get to know people's islands, the little characters that
Oh.
they've got around. So I thought it'd be fun to see who is, being mean. So I guess we'll go Sergio, then Nina, then me.
Okay.
Okay, sounds good. So the first answer is from Ollie, and they said, Allie. She's my snooty alligator villager. Her catchphrase is boo hoo, but she never really feels sorry for you. I adore her, and I actually got a second photo from her the other day, but I'm not sure if that means she likes me or she just really likes herself.
I didn't know you could get a second photo.
Yeah.
Wow.
I guess she really likes herself, right?
Yeah.
She just has them ready. She just hands them out.
Yeah, she's like, oh, another one for an autograph. Fine.
Love it.
That is great.
Missy D says the closest villager I have to a villain is Wolfgang. He's always complaining about something. I recently went to talk to him while holding my net and didn't get close enough. And when I clicked A, so I smacked him in the head with my net, and he was so angry. He basically told me to get away from him and just huffed and puffed around, but he got over it eventually. Aw, Wolfgang. I'm assuming he's cranky.
Yeah, I love my Wolfgang.
Yeah. He does have a good villain name, though.
That's
That
true.
is a good one. I think that's the name of the bully in Hey Arnold, right?
Is it?
Wolfgang. I think it is. I think there's a Wolfgang.
Interesting.
I totally relate to that net thing. I'll run around with a net all the time because I'm always catching bugs, and I'll accidentally hit my villagers. Eunice would not give me her photo for like months because of it. Because I
Oh.
accidentally hit her like a few times.
The worst is
And-
when they've got the thinking cloud and you accidentally hit them and they lose the cloud.
Yeah, I've done that too.
Hmm.
I've done that too many times. So nowadays, I just put away my net before interacting with my villagers.
No matter what.
Yeah, because I know I can't trust it. I don't. Sometimes they're behind something, and I don't know if I'm going to talk to them or whack them. Yeah. So Marshmallow Bunny said, I can't think of a current one. My villagers are pretty civil. A couple months ago, however, I had Moose. While he wasn't particularly a villain, his existence is just upsetting. He's permanently raising his eyebrows at you, and scribbles are not sideburns.
Scribbles are not sideburns.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty hard to pull off those types of sideburns, though. Like, how do you even form them on your...
Oh, he's got
sides.
curly hair. It's fine.
Yeah, I don't mind them, but I like your experiences with them.
Amazing.
Nice. So let me be said. So I had to think about this for a minute and came to an unpleasant conclusion. I'm the village villain.
Oh no.
I plant pitfall seeds, I take random selfies without asking the villagers' permission, I give my villagers strange clothing sometimes for a laugh, and sometimes, if I'm in a hurry, I push a villager out of my way. But, of course, I love them all, and despite all of my shenanigans, they all love me too.
Aww.
I can see that. I can see that.
Gosh.
What a turn of events here.
Let's see. Megan Diane says, half of my villagers live in a rundown city surrounded by a river. Across the river lives the rest of the villagers who are all witches. Sometimes you can hear Judy's tiny voice singing along to KK Church. And I'll just say, it's creepy. This sounds like a spooky town. I like it.
Yeah, I want to visit now. I'm going to need their dream address. Maybe I'll comment back and ask for it.
Mm-hmm.
So Obsessed Polyglot is our last answer, and they said, ooh, this is a fun question. I really had to think about it for a second, but if any of my current villagers give off villain vibes, I'd say Judy. So another Judy here. She seems all sweet and ladylike with her pastel colors, but I've seen what a devious smile she has when she's planning something, and she's all about the gossip, so maybe she's secretly spying on everyone. I once gave her a fortune teller set with a crystal ball and tarot cards because I thought it fit her aesthetic, and now I can't help but imagine that she is somehow using that to spy on people and maybe infiltrate their dreams at night. I should keep an eye on her from now on.
I love it.
I love it too. It's fun to have little stories for your villagers and
Yes.
see, just what they're up to. And it makes you want a villain,
Mm-hmm.
Everybody needs that villainous character in their life, right?
Do you guys have any?
I thought about it. I don't think I do. I don't.
It's Marshall.
No. Why?
He's got an evil face. He's always angry. And for the last week, he's told me that he loves being on my island because of me, and I can only assume it's because he wants to steal everything.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know.
That's
Marshall, he's just, he's been sneaking around. I don't know what he's up to.
He's got shifty eyes.
Can't be trusted. What about you, Nina? Do you have a villain?
Maybe Julian is on mine. He seems like he thinks very highly of himself, so I'm sure
Yes.
he's not nice to people behind their backs.
Mm-hmm.
But you need one of those friends in your life so that you can keep track of them.
Yeah, I guess it is better to keep your enemies close, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Well, thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of Haken, an Animal Crossing podcast. Don't want the episode to end? Well, you can keep the conversation going by Nintendo switching over to our Discord. Just follow the link in the description, and you can talk with other people who love Animal Crossing as much as you do, including Sergio, Nina, and me. Want to support the show in a bigger way and get your voice heard during the show? Visit patreon.com/ChuiPlaysNintendo. You can support our show with just $1, get special access to a secret room on Discord, join in on the Haken Islander Corner, and even read a monthly newsletter covering all things Haken and Chuy Plays. We really appreciate the support and put your money towards some great things on the show. Tuned in on YouTube, the comments are a great place to let us know your answers to the Haken Islander Corner. Who is your village villain and why? If you dig what you hear, please KK slide over to that review section on your platform of choice. Let people know what they're missing out on. Haken is a wild production brought to you by Chuy, Sergio, Nina, and all of our patrons. We thank you for listening, and we hope you have a great week.
Goodbye, everybody.
See you all next time.